What's up, everybody? We are back. This is Spoiler Alerts number 11. Finally.
Yeah.
Finally.
It's been crazy trying to get this one out, but we are finally here to talk about some Black Mirror. I'm Chanmanv. He is Ellohime, and he is EatMyDiction1. What's up, fellas?
I'm EatMyDiction1. Hi.
What's going on, guys?
Yes.
And obviously, as always, we have to warn you guys, we're going to be talking about Black Mirror today, which is a show on Netflix. It is a crazy show, incredible
Awesome
show,
yes.
in my opinion. But we are going to be spoiling everything. And this especially is one of those shows where you're not going to want to listen unless you've seen it, honestly, because it's so good and we don't want to ruin anything for you.
Yes.
And in this show specifically, since every episode is its own story, we could potentially be ruining 6 different storylines for you in one sitting. So it's like times 6
spoil.
the amount. This is a lot of spoiler alert today. So if you haven't seen it, because I think all 3 of us enjoyed it so much, we would really suggest you go watch it without us spoiling everything. But if you haven't watched it and you're here today, welcome. We will be going into we're going to go episode to episode, right?
Yeah, we're going to do episode to episode, and of course you guys can join in the discussion too towards the end after we get our thoughts out. We'd love to pull you guys in. So if you want to do that, go ahead and hang out during the show in this voice channel. Monkey's not here today, so I'll probably pop in at one point and just check on folks and see who's not trolling and whatnot. Has like an interesting discussion point or topic that they want to add to what we've been talking about, and pull you guys in so we can include you guys in the show too. But why don't we, guys, why don't we start off by just talking about the format? Just having each episode be its own standalone, and then just having a show like that, because I remember back in the day, like, I think it was like the first time I ever encountered something like this was when I used to watch, I guess I'd watched Twilight Zone a long time ago, and things like Tales from the Crypt.
Sounds like the staple of the anthology series.
Yeah. And I mean, I kind of missed that format for a long time. I know they've done it here and there, but I think this is like probably the best version
Steven
of it.
Spielberg had one in the late 80s called like Fantastic Stories or something
Yeah, but it was short. It was like a season.
It was short. It was like a season. It didn't really take off, but the episodes were really cool from what I remember. My dad used to watch it.
I remember it too. Yeah, that was good, actually.
It's definitely not a very popular way of doing
Tales
it,
from the Crypt Keeper also.
Yeah, Tales from the Crypt was awesome, dude. I used to love that.
Yeah.
Did American Horror Story start that way or no? Or has it always just been a full season?
Well, it's always been, so it's like every season is a different story with actors returning in different roles and stuff like that, but they're always different stories. I think there is some correlation between like the supernatural shit, but as far as like each season is a completely different story.
Yeah. But
which that's becoming a new thing. Like we were talking, we did Fargo, and like that's how Fargo is,
right?
And True Detective, it's every season's like a self-contained like story.
Well, it's great too, because it's like when you, especially TV series, lots of TV series, especially ones that run on just the public channels or whatnot. It's like season 1's the best season, and then afterwards you feel the writers having to just continue to reach. Maybe there's 2 seasons in a row that's good, but then like the 3rd season and the 4th season, when they have to stay with the same characters and whatnot, they just
got a lot of shit.
Yeah,
for the 3rd season, and they're weird. They're just
example.
Like the shit they threw at the audience that didn't make any sense. And they never answered the questions.
We'll have to do Lost one day. That's a whole.
I mean, that's a.
Oh my god!
What is it? That's like a week of like episodes to watch. Like watch.
That's like a month.
We should call it the Lost Months. The Lost Months, and we spend like 3 months on it and talk about it. But no, it's interesting. Let me ask you guys the question. Do you think it's easier or harder to film that way, season to season, or to do a continuous show, or to do it episode to episode? Because I think it would be harder to do it episode to episode like Black Mirror does it. That's especially the way they do it, because it's like it's a really good, pretty intricate story. The plot has a lot to do with the enjoyment of it. And they're also getting a whole new brand, a whole new cast. They're not reusing people for different stories.
It's different directors,
completely different art direction.
Everything.
Yeah, everything's different. But like apparently, well, I read interviews with Charlie Brooker about the 3rd season and how apparently it was like they were doing twice the work because they had 6 episodes instead of 3 this time.
Yeah.
And he said that it was actually easier working with Netflix, I guess, than the BBC, and like they managed to like crank them out a lot faster than they thought they would. Like, so I guess probably beforehand, because it was such a new idea, it's like, all right, we're gonna do this like really in-depth sci-fi series. Every episode is gonna be different with different types of special effects and completely different locations, you know, and like in art direction. Like the second episode alone was like all art direction and all really intricate like design choices for like the way it looked and everything, compared to the first episode, which was a thriller. Like it was a, you know, like it was just like a political thriller type thing, social satire. And they all they really needed were like, you know, I don't think there was a single bit of like actual visual effect in that. It was all just characters talking, basically.
Yeah, I mean the finger thing maybe, and just for the most part there was not much to it. I think it's, I mean, to answer your question, I think it's harder just because, like, you know, we were just talking about, you have to manage so many like different casts and directors and whatnot. I wasn't sure how the process worked, like whether a bunch of people just
when you have like well, when you have like a series that's ongoing with like returning characters, sometimes that can be harder because scheduling is numero uno, and so like you have actors that also need to work on other projects, right? So it's like with Black Mirror, it's like, okay, we're gonna shoot this for like 3 weeks. That's your 3 weeks.
It's a different challenge,
and then you're done.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think about.
It was like, guess what? The next like 7 years of your life, we own you. Like,
well, there's so many pros and cons to it, right? What I think would be the most difficult is to keep coming up with fresh ideas and concepts that don't seem regurgitated, and still stick to the kind of theme, the technology, sci-fi theme. I think that would be difficult. Like if you told me to sit down and write 3 to 6 solid, fantasy stories or something, like 1 hour episode kind of stuff, I could probably do that. But at a certain point, my brain would be frayed. My brain would be frayed. No, my brain would be fried. Like it would be nuts. So I don't know. I commend Black Mirror especially, and I'm not going to talk about season 3 months, but for all the seasons, because it seems like episode to episode, I haven't seen anything get stale yet. And that's my biggest thing is like, I keep waiting for the episode that's too much like the other episode. And, another episode, it doesn't pop up. It seems to be pretty fresh with the ideas. And I'm thinking, why is that? And it's just because there's so much now that we have to work with, considering technology and the advancements of technology and the future of technology, that you could grab any gizmo and make a whole story around it. Really, honestly, if you took
Plumbus,
it to the extreme,
you could just do a whole episode of Plumbus.
Yeah,
the Plumbus. Is now repurposed.
I challenge them to make one of the Plumbus.
The Plumbus is connected to the spleen.
Oh man.
Anyways.
Okay. Well, what we're doing today, guys, I don't think we mentioned it. We're doing season 1 and 2 today. So we're saving season 3 for another time. But season 1 and 2, there's 6 episodes, and again, like we were talking, they're all different.
Well, are we gonna talk? Did you guys not watch the Christmas episode? There's 7 technically.
I haven't actually seen. I didn't actually watch the Christmas episode.
Okay.
Oh wait,
we can.
Yeah, there was one in between, right? I totally missed that one.
Yeah, it had what's his name, Don Draper in it.
Yeah, it's a really good one. I should have watched it. I totally missed it.
Oh, wait. I did see that one. I forgot about
totally
that. Yeah. I didn't watch it for this show, so I'm going to have to remember it. But that was a terrifying one. I forgot about that one. Shit.
That one had some fucking, like,
a lot of people like that one, too.
Out of all of them, that one takes the cake for pathos. Like, Jesus Christ. It's rough, but, like, it's good.
I totally forgot about that one. I'm sad I did now because it's probably the one that I thought was the most fucked up.
You should remind me to watch it, dude. I totally didn't watch it.
Yeah, definitely
watch it. You didn't watch it?
I didn't watch it.
Oh,
I only watched the 6 episodes, dude. So
okay, no, I totally forgot about the special one. It was so weird, like a Christmas special for Black Mirror.
Well, that's the whole. That was the whole point.
When they were unsure if the series would keep going with the BBC, so they gave him like 1 extra episode to like try to get ratings, and I guess it didn't. It was Black Mirror is one of those shows that didn't catch on until like 2 years after it aired. Like when Netflix got the rights to air it, to stream it, that's when it really took off, and that's when like everyone was like, "Holy shit, watch that show! It's fucking dope." Before that, I guess it wasn't doing too well on BBC4.
So this is what my friend said when I started, and this is kind of more just general talk about the show before we actually get into the episodes. But he said, and I want to know if you guys agree with this. do not watch the first episode
first
as the first thing that you see.
I didn't.
Yeah.
He said that the way it happened with him was he watched the Christmas special first.
Oh my god!
And then went back and watched everything else.
Ate dessert first.
Basically. Yeah. Right? But I think, and I would suggest this to if anybody stuck around after my intro saying you shouldn't be here if you haven't watched the show. If you still haven't watched the show and you're still listening, I would suggest if you do watch it that you start at any other episode besides episode 1.
I started on 3.
I'd recommend 2 or 3.
I started on 3. Yeah.
I started on 2. And I thought 2 was a good place to start. I think it's a fine place to start. And I think if I would have started anywhere else, it would have been just as fine.
That being said, 1 is still great.
Actually, 1 is still really good.
It's the least sci-fi out of all of them. It's 100% just social satire.
Yeah.
No it's based on an actual event, like I believe.
Really?
I heard that, but I don't know much about it. So.
Really?
I'm pretty sure like one of the prime minister's daughters was kidnapped, and the kidnappers wanted him to fuck a pig on live TV.
Oh, okay.
I think they managed to like get her back before that actually happened, but
yeah.
Darn.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Darn.
Oh man. All right. Well, why don't we
that's
start?
The first episode.
Why don't we start
for you guys?
Don't worry, guys.
So,
I promise we will be doing season 3 and the Christmas episode at some point.
Yes, we promise you.
Yeah.
Maybe you should listen through the show to the very end. And then maybe
no spoilers.
In the future, we may reveal.
Yeah.
Anyways, so let's start with episode 1 then. Let's talk about the pig fucker.
Okay, let's talk about episode 1.
the pig fucking episode, as everyone knows it.
Yes. Okay.
So.
Okay. Hold on. So I'm reading it right now. So they took liberties, but apparently Prime Minister David Cameron was part of this Oxford dining society called the Piers Gaveston, and they specialized in bizarre rituals and sexual excess. And one of them was fucking pigs.
Oh, so he was actually.
So that's what it was based on. Yeah, so that actually happened in a sense.
But he was kind of affiliated.
What is up with those fucking like secret societies and the weird shit they do? Exactly. Like, calm down. You're rich and white. We get it. Like,
well, you gotta
that's
think
why
of
they're
this like
secret
this.
societies.
That's
dude.
why, because they've had regular
pigs.
Well, because they've had regular
pigs
so many times. There's so many women that in order to have an orgasm, they have to do something completely depraved. That's just part of being rich. Listen, Diction, at some point when you get super successful, you're gonna fuck a pig. That's just part of your life. Okay, it's gonna happen.
Not holding my breath, dude.
Be holding something else.
You keep making the right plays, and one day you'll have to fuck a pig.
Oh man.
But anyway, so the episode is I feel like this one stands apart from the other episodes because, like Diction said, it is like a social commentary more than it is a sci-fi thing. I mean, it does implement technology a little bit, but I mean, for the most part, I think it's just kind of a fun tale about breaking the government down in a different way,
it's about it's about knocking down those public leaders, down from a pedestal that I think most people see, especially like a prime minister, or if it was the president of the United States, I think it might have even had even more of an impact, actually. But obviously this was in the BBC, so I mean this was originally in the BBC, so it made sense to be a prime minister. But having,
are you trying to say that America's better than Britain?
No, I'm just saying. If
it was the president, this would be better.
More, it's more powerful.
Go ahead. I'm just fucking.
If it was Trump, it'd be pretty funny, actually. No, but it was no. I think it's cool that they they pretty much break that paradigm, put them in a position where you actually have a moralistic type of decision that you have to make, and how that intertwines with how the perception of you as a leader of a country, a super powerful figure in the world, is how you have to make that decision. So that dilemma was like awesome.
Really revealing.
Yeah,
it was awesome. It was really revealing to his character that he'd spent the entire episode trying to get out of it when his fucking daughter's life is at stake.
Well, it wasn't his daughter.
I get it.
Well, I mean,
it was his
daughter. No, it was the princess. So he had the pressure from the royal family too, right? So
right, okay, I forgot about that. Okay, yeah. Still, at the same time, that's a human life hanging in the balance, and and he's just thinking about his image and how it's going to affect him politically. And it's like, dude, someone could die if you don't just fuck the pig. Just get it over with.
Yeah, like, but Diction, if you were put in that situation, would you just go and fuck the pig without exploring other options?
No, of course not. Of course not. But at a certain point, I'd be like, all right, I guess I got to do this. And he did it he held out till the very end. And they're like, dude, there's no other way. You have to fuck this pig.
Well,
yeah,
Think about the book rights that you would get though. After that, all the interviews you would get after he gets fired. Yeah, like, you could write a book about it.
It was more about saving his political career than it was necessarily saving her, because I don't know. Can you imagine Obama ever doing something like that? I mean, let's just, like, that would never happen. Like,
I have every night.
Never. I have every night.
Every night before bed, I imagine this scenario.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was a little, unbelievable from that sense, but I think it did strike a chord where it's like, this could legitimately be something, especially with the royal family being, that influential. I think it was important that it wasn't his daughter too. It was kind of cool that it was somebody beloved by the public, that was part of a family that has super influence over him too. Because you know how it works, the monarchy over there. I mean, the queen does have some influence over the prime minister over there. I don't know how much, but definitely has some influence. So it was kind of cool how they used that too.
I agree. I liked it better than it being like somebody close to him, because it's almost like the fact that it wasn't family made him more resistant to the pig fucking. Like if it was his daughter, he probably would have been more inclined or felt better about the decision than it being, what I guess you could consider a stranger, in a way. Yeah. It's not like he has some kind of emotional connection to this person. I mean, any more than somebody could for their, princess or queen or whatever. But here's the thing. What I thought was going to happen, and by the way, at the end of this, I mean, doesn't he pretty much still have a career? Like, he's still,
it's great, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Because everybody kind of commends him, because, everybody makes a big joke out of it. And then when he goes up and does it, they're like, oh, fuck.
Their faces are like,
this is more than I bargained for. But that was
the reaction shots were horrifying, man.
I kind of get what Diction. Yeah, I kind of get what Diction's saying, because if it were me, I would have at some point after I saw, tried some options, probably after we stormed that place and we didn't get her, it's like, all right, I got to fuck this pig. What I would do is I would just go out there and be like, listen, and he kind of does. I remember he kind of does, but he doesn't really give it like the kind of I don't know what I'm trying, the kind of bravo that I wish he would have, like, gone out there and been like, listen, I don't want to do this, this isn't what I am normally into, but somebody's life is in danger and I'm doing this for England, so I'm gonna fuck this pig for England. And I would have just owned it. I wish he would have just owned it, instead of the fact that he looks so like, he looks like somebody's asking him to like stick his hand in acid or something. Like, he looks horrible and he looks terrible. And I think that the people that wanted that from him got everything they wanted, like pretty much like with his approach to it. I just would have been out there and been like, I'm gonna fuck this pig. I'm doing it for England, and I'd whip it out and just go to town, or try to. I love how his little assistant, didn't she, is like, here's some Viagra, here's some this, here's some. Yeah. I love how they're so like government about it, and like his little person's trying to help him.
Here's a porn mag for you to look at. Right before you're donating.
It's like we're trying to make this. We're trying to make fucking a pig as comfortable as possible.
Yeah. For you. It's this giant empty room with a fucking pig in the middle of it.
Yeah, just like slopping away. That's the worst.
Or something,
God.
Just imagine being the guy that's running. Imagine the guy in production who's running the TriCaster, just like switching camera angles, just like go to 2, back to wide,
close up.
Am I hitting the buttons right? Is it okay?
I mean, at least have a fireplace, like make it up nice, kind of get the mood going. It's
Marvin
a
Gaye
cold black room, some
Marvin. Give him a nice cold pint of Guinness,
Yeah, man. Like, why did they let him just get shit faced before that? Like, I would have gone out there and been like, I'm gonna fuck this pig for England, drank a whole fucking thing of vodka or whatever, and then just Fuck the pig,
So,
man.
but we're talking about the prime minister. We should talk about the pig's feelings, though. But so, like, was he sedated or what? I mean, the pig's getting raped here. What's going on? This is not cool for the pig. I mean, this is so bad.
This pig has no political affiliations. Like, he's
that pig,
innocent.
as soon as it was done, one of two things happened. Either it became a personal, like an animal celebrity, right? Or it was eaten. It's one of the two things.
It was
okay?
eaten? Oh,
yeah, because listen, don't care about that pig's feelings.
God.
You had bacon this morning. He's fine, okay? He's doing what a pig does. He eats food. He gets fucked. Sometimes pigs get fucked. It's just the way it is. Now, did they ever say it was a female pig or a male pig?
Oh my God, I don't think
matters.
That
That matters.
That matters.
By the way,
that really.
Yes,
okay.
that matters.
Okay.
If you had to fuck a pig, you would at least want it to be a female pig, right?
I mean,
it depends on.
Chan, I know it's not a question you want to answer, but I mean, there's only.
What is this?
Only
Is
one
this an
right
episode
one.
of Black Mirror all of a sudden?
At the point of it being an animal, I would just not give a shit.
I wouldn't care.
Really?
So
you wouldn't have a preference over male or female pig if you had to fuck it?
No, and if I did have a preference, I would be disgusted in myself.
What? I mean, if you had nobody wants to fuck the pig. Well, not nobody, but I assume nobody here wants to fuck a pig. So we get to, I know. Listen, I'm sorry. This is not the in-depth character plot discussion we need to have about this episode, but I think this is equally as important. There is definitely a difference between fucking a female pig and fucking a male pig, okay? Fucking a male pig in the butt is not going to be nearly as manageable as the female pig, Diction. And the fact that you don't care makes me disgusted, okay? I
don't care either.
All right, okay, I guess,
like we're gonna have a crying game moment
like
too.
What's,
I mean, what
oh God!
I'm defending my position on forced pig fucking. Okay.
Oh my God. All right.
What else are we supposed to focus on with this episode? It's a pig. I mean,
we can focus. Wait. So you're pretty clear about you would have done this if you were in his position.
Oh yeah. I mean, at a certain point, especially if you're thinking politically, right?
I'll just put it out there. I wouldn't have.
Okay, and that's fine. But if you're thinking about politically, right, there is something to be said, and I think it shows us at the end of the show that this guy kind of took one for the team. It became like a martyr, I guess. Like this guy had to do the fucking most depraving thing for his nation, and he did it. And so while they may snicker and laugh and whatever, and probably poke fun of him the rest of his life, I think that he earned a lot of people's respect. So when I'm saying that I would fuck the pig if I was there, I'm saying in his position, if I was in his position, if I was in a political position and political power and maintaining that power and staying in office and all that stuff was important to me, and you were told, that you have to fuck this pig, like after options are exhausted, then you might as well just fucking own it, right? You might as well just give it your best and do it for England and cheerio and fucking high five at the end of the day. And you know what? And that's how I would play it. It's like, oh, you fucked a pig. Yeah, I fucked a pig to save some girl's life. Like, what are you going to put me on blast for that?
Yeah.
What would you do? What would you do? Coward. Yeah, like I feel like he would even actually coming out of that be way stronger politically because these people saw the sacrifice he was willing to do for their country and for their traditions as well. Because the princess, there's not a princess in every country. This is a cultural thing. So he's willing to do what he did for England and for England's ideals. I think that there's some merit there. I think people can glean from the situation. So yeah, I do it. But you wouldn't do it, Chan?
Yeah,
you wouldn't do it for a nation?
Addiction, would you have done it or no?
I mean,
I'll tell you why I won't do it in a second.
I definitely have several second thoughts about it. But I guess
second thoughts?
If the human life was in the balance, I would do it.
So here's the thing. Like, I think if it was just like a microcosm of like, okay, you screw a pig, you save a life, I would do it if it was like a microcosm. But there's not. There's like a lot of other elements. Being a leader of a country, I think, puts you in a different position because like, in a way, I mean, like, come on. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, being a leader of the country, I mean, it's a little bit unrealistic to me that, like, there wouldn't be a lot of negative effects to him doing that, too. Especially when it comes to, like, world relations and how other countries look at you, how other countries even perceive you as a power in the world when your president has fucked the pig. I mean, let's just put it like it's a very very simple fact that way. I mean, they're not looking at the specifics; they're just looking at the fact that you fucked a pig, right? And I think perception is strong, and unfortunately, it plays a role. As much as I don't want it to play a role, I think it does play a role. So. I think putting the position that you hold in that kind of, like that jeopardy, at least the respect level in that jeopardy, is overall detrimental to your country. I mean, it sucks that a princess might die, but I still think you have to take that into regard. I mean, it's you're the figure for your country, and and another thing is somebody can manipulate you that way, then there's going to be more people that are going to try to manipulate you again, or another leader. Like if they can get away with taking down the leader of a country in this, or putting them in this kind of depraving situation, then anybody can do it. All the trolls could try to do it. I mean, not everybody's going to go kidnap somebody, but there are a lot of crazy people that would, and then they would just be more entitled to do it.
It's like I said, it's an interesting approach, obviously, to sort of ruining somebody, or maybe kind of sticking it to the man, which I think is overall what made it interesting. What I applaud the show for in this episode is the fact that they actually had him go through with it.
Exactly.
It wasn't, and that's what I think is most shocking. It's the reason why I love and hate the episode, and why I don't suggest people watch that as the first episode, is because once you're done with that first episode, you're either on board or you're not. And what I think people think they're getting on board for isn't necessarily what that episode represents for the show. You know what I mean? Like, so while I do appreciate the episode, and I appreciate that it was willing to push this guy to that and then not cop out at the end. Oh, we figured out a way. We solved it. No, at the end, sorry, this is it. You're going to have to fuck this pig. And they show it. I think it's different, right? It's unique. Because not a lot of shows would go as far as to have a man fuck a pig, and they did it pretty. I mean, you didn't see like insertion or anything, but I mean, they didn't have to show his facial expressions while he's banging away at the pig either. So they don't pull punches, No, I mean, they pull some, but not many, So it's like, I don't know. I can respect their decision to just follow through, because again, a lot of shows would have tried to go with the happy ending, which it does kind of have a happy ending at the end. It's kind of a gray area kind of thing.
Well, it's like a happy ending. Right? It's a happy ending for his political career, but his personal, his personal relationship with his wife is obviously terrible. What's interesting about the fingers, like, you'd think they would have done a DNA check on the finger, like, pretty quickly after getting the finger. So the end with them releasing her early too, and in the end, he didn't even have to do it. Right, I think that was a little bit of a that was an interesting twist too at the end. That in the end he did it for naught. Honestly, like she didn't lose a finger. Her life was fine, but
don't DNA tests take like 48 hours to come back with conclusive results?
Oh, that's probably true. That's probably true.
He was on a timer.
But I feel like
it's pretty quick.
But I feel like if it was the princess of Britain, I feel like they would have enough pull to get that shit done as fast as
highest priority
humanly possible. I could see that. I mean, I don't know. I'm just guessing, but I think like a rush order blood testing could probably be done within 48 hours. I feel like if they really push it. But I agree, Chan. It's kind of weird that they didn't even mention the possibility of blood testing the finger.
One thing to bring up too is that what are your thoughts on originally his assistant or whoever, the woman, right, basically arranged for another person to do it and photoshopped his face on it. So what do you think of that? What do you think of basically having the public perceive that he did it, even though he didn't do it, yet he would have gotten the gain from that, right? Like, I mean, how would have that played out, you think?
Well, it's like the opposite.
They're like discussing like CGIing his face.
They did, but somebody at the shoot basically leaked that they were doing that, and that's why they cut off her finger.
Right.
Yeah. So
I think it's actually the opposite effect of what we saw. So he doesn't actually do it, but everyone thinks he does, and then it will probably be released at some point that he didn't actually do it. It's gotta come out, right? So the princess would have been saved, but not as many people would have respected him because he copped out, and but his relationship with his wife might be better because he didn't do it.
But would they? So would they have not respected him, or would they have been? Oh, okay, that was smart about getting out of that situation.
Well, here's the thing: only if she survives or not. You know, like if the princess died and he faked it, then he would be. You know, I guess it just depends. You know, I guess it just depends on a lot. I don't know. I think if it did go down that way, that I don't think politically it would have been as good for him. But I think his relationship with his wife would have been better, as opposed to the ending that we saw, which is the opposite, which is his wife's relationship suffered because he fucked the pig. But politically, he's doing okay.
I mean, how would you feel if you're having sex with a guy that's had sex with a pig?
I feel like Cora. Listen,
where has that thing been? Oh my god!
I feel like Cora would still accept me under that context. I think that there has to come a point where it's like, I mean, at some point this guy's hands are tied. I mean, he was basically going to be killed, right, if he didn't do this. Like they said,
made it
like,
sound like that. Yeah, you'll never recover from this.
Kill you.
And
his family too, and his family. I think they threatened his family too. It's like shit's gonna go bad if you don't fuck this pig. You know, like at a certain point, your hands are tied. If you want to survive, in this world, at a certain point, your hands are tied. And I think that a partner that cares and loves you, you know, would see that you didn't really have a choice. Ultimately, you were put in a bad situation and bad shit happened.
Right.
I couldn't, you know, and the shoe was on the other foot. If Cora, you know, had to do that, I don't think I could hold that against her. I think it would take time to get over that, but I couldn't see myself, you know, like judging her on it or thinking she was disgusting or anything. I probably would love her more than anything just because she would need it that, you know, more in that moment. So it makes me feel kind of bad that the wife didn't support him more in a situation that was really extraordinary. So I don't know. I was kind of like, I felt bad about it. I felt like, man, this chick isn't doing what she's supposed to as a wife, like helping him out. Because, man, can you think of a worse situation?
Talk me through it. Talk me through it, honey. Like, cause she's like calling him like right before he's about to do it.
Dude, man. I would be on the phone with Cora and be like, babe, listen, you just do what you got to do. I love you. You know, go save the princess.
Exactly. All right.
I mean, like, I've been saving princesses in video games for so long. It's your turn, babe. You go save it in real life. Man. And I'd be like lock and loaded.
Right. All right. Let's go on to the episode 2. Let's move on from pig fucking here.
Okay.
All right.
Finally.
Okay. This one's interesting.
Finally.
I have this. I have this, like, I don't know what you call it, maybe a vice or this really weak spot for these reality shows, especially singing reality shows. So this one had
you're one of those people, are you?
Wait, why do you have a weak spot?
I don't know. I just like them, man. I just, you know, I like these American Idols and The Voices and X Factors and stuff like that. So
I'll admit that I did get into The Voice in the first and second season more than I have it. I didn't give a shit about American Idol. I just like The Voice because I liked their reactions to their talent. I think that watching anybody do something skillfully is interesting, and I think it's got value and merit. I have a hard time with how reality TV they try to make it. You know, if it was just a singing competition, I might enjoy it. You know, but it has to be, you know, above and beyond. Yeah. But I've never really been into them that much. But like, do you just like do you sing, Chan, or do you just like?
I mean, I've sung before, but I'm not like, you know, any kind of even remotely crazy good singer or anything like that. But
what I'm saying do you like the idea of the competition?
Yeah.
And you like the idea of people?
So I like the idea of like what America's Got Talent or sometimes that, you know, with X Factor, because there's no age limit, right? Like things like American Idol, and actually I don't think The Voice has an age limit either. I like things that don't have age limits so that, you know, there's all kinds of stories, right? Even the older people have a really, really cool story that, I don't know, I had a kid when I was young and, you know, like didn't have a chance to pursue a music career because I was taking care of my kid, and now it's, you know, my time. I think those shows lend to had those feel good moments, right, with a lot of people's lives and them telling their stories. So that part of it I really, really like. The whole, whether they're singing good or not, I mean, I'm to the point where I've seen so many that it's really, really hard to show me something unique at this point, like when it comes to voices and what they sing and styles or whatnot. So it's mostly about just the human stories that I think are pretty cool about those particular shows.
So what about these? So what about this story? So having knowing that about you now.
Right back. I gotta grab a package real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Keep talking.
He's grabbing his package. Is that what he said?
He, I guess all that pig fucking talk got you.
Oh God.
No. So knowing that, what did you think about this episode? How did it make you feel?
I thought it was cool. I mean, I think there's like two parts of this episode. Like the way it's set up. Like, what kind of world is this that your job is to basically just ride a bike all day, right? To earn currency, to do, even basic elements of life, like having toothpaste and what soap to shower with and crap like that, right? So I think that world itself is kind of cool, interesting. But then, the whole game show aspect of it, you basically just trying to get out of this I guess, this very rote world, of you just riding a bike all day, is that element's pretty cool because it's set up to be a singing contest, right? But then all of a sudden it takes a very weird twist because there's a judge who is obviously new to the judging panel that focuses basically on adult entertainment or porn or whatever, right? And it's definitely interesting that they're looking at the talent given to them in all kinds of different ways. And obviously she's a cute girl, right? And
she's hot.
Yeah, and okay, she's hot, cute, she's whatever. Hot. And she has pretty good talent, but then she's probably going to destroy it in the porn industry or whatnot. So I don't know. I thought it was pretty interesting. I mean, it was definitely a great twist there at the end that just breaking her down. Obviously, she had some kind of influence with that drink that she had. I don't know what exactly was in it.
Yeah, it was basically just called it had a name.
Yeah, it was like
basically it inhibits your ability to make decisions for yourself. Exactly. And just kind of go with the flow.
Exactly. So I think she was probably influenced by that, but I don't know, putting her in a position where it's like either the rest of your life you're just riding a bike, or you can compromise at least this part of yourself, about the whole, just having sex for a living or whatnot, and actually live a very comfortable life. And
okay, but that's the question. Like, in this world, do we even know what a comfortable life means? Like,
not riding a bike.
Understand? I mean, the only thing we understand about this society is that fat people are pretty much useless. They're just there for cleaning.
Yeah,
most people, like the middle class, there is some like fat shaming and like like the society's view of people who are overweight. There's commentary on that as well.
Well, that's the one guy that's obnoxious that constantly does, right? Laughing at the fat people, and then like
that shithead. I was really hoping he'd just die in the end.
Yeah.
So you've got it looks at the bottom of the totem pole, you've got fat people. Okay. Then you've got everybody else, basically, who utilizes this system where they get on these bikes and ride for credits. And then what? Like, what is the other? And this is a question I had when I watched it.
Well, celebrities, right?
1%. The celebrities.
I know, but what does the 1% actually mean? Like, what does your life consist of?
They're the people that are on the TVs that they watch while they ride the bike. They're the ones the consumers consume, basically.
I know, but what I'm saying is their quality of life really any better?
Well, they get orange
juice. You see in the end that now that he's a celebrity, he's got this wide open apartment and everything. He's not stuck in that little box anymore, and his life is objectively a lot better. But he's also he's sad and alone because he gave up his fucking morals and his ethics to do this stupid show that really is mostly about ad revenue and and not about his core message that he was trying to get across when he went on the show.
Yeah, but I felt like he was just put in a bigger box. Like, it wasn't like he.
No, that's true.
He's in a box. Everybody.
No, I know, but that's what
a bigger box, and they make them feel like they've got a better life because they have more freedom, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't seem like they're really winning anything. It doesn't seem like at the end of the day, it's just you're trading in your job as as a teacher for being an electrician. You know, it's like it's
more like hard labor. It's like trading in hard labor for
like a desk job,
like a desk job.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
yeah. So it's like what I was kind of curious about this episode specifically, and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing that we don't really know that much about the upper echelon or what that society is even really actually doing. Why is everybody on bicycles? Is it a power issue?
Yeah, I thought that was like they were generating power or some shit like that.
That's what I'm saying. Like I wish I knew more about the world itself. Like, because I mean, we don't even really see the outside ever. Like, we don't even know.
I figured it out. Like, they gave enough. It was like the whole less is more conversation we had last week. Like, they gave enough for you to like piece it together in your own mind, and it's a lot more like that. You don't need to know all the details because you can kind of fill in the gaps and make up your own story of like what this could be, this dystopian society it's all about, you know.
And I like that, but like I guess where I'm kind of going back and forth is, do I agree with that statement, or do I agree with the statement that I would have liked to see more of what the upper echelon actually was? So it's like, and I guess if this wasn't an hour episode, I bet we could probably explore that more. But that's the question: do I want to? I think that the less is more thing is a valid argument, but my curiosity wants me to like really see what is going on here. Like, it just seems like these people. I mean, these people are basically hamsters. You know, like whose cage is it? You know, like why is it a cage? Why is this society? There's so many questions.
Who's above the three? You know, the three people that are judging everyone. There's got to be someone.
Like what's the structure here? I mean, it could be anything, really. I mean, it could be something as simple as, you know, this is just one building in a world that has many buildings, you know, or whatever. You know, it could be anything. I guess that, again, the less is more thing, I think is a proper way to view it. That's what they went with. They have an hour. I think it worked really well. But I would have liked to know more. Some of these episodes I leave and I'm like, give me more about that.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. This is an episode I think they could have made into. It could have been into a movie. Actually, I think they had enough there that they could have. But the biggest thing, you know, it was really cool what happened to him at the end, right? Because, you know, there's like that whole. Just, you know, that whole bit about him finding her, right? This pure talent, and you know this world that he's in is just so commercial and all about, you know, just monetizing views and advertising or whatnot. And you know, he finds this pure talent and he invests like basically all of his all of his net worth or whatever, and puts it into that ticket for her. And then it just gets corrupted too, right? Or it falls into the same boat.
Yeah.
And so he goes out there meeting, like, I mean, I thought he was going there to eventually off himself, like on air. He gives that long speech about, you know, just what the world is or what his view on the world is. And then in the end, he falls into the same trap, you know, and
becomes a puppet.
Exactly. Yeah. He becomes a puppet. I think that was a powerful thing at the end too. I mean, it was really short too, because like you literally just see him do that podcast or whatever for about, I don't know, 20 seconds. And then you see that, oh yeah, he's in this posh, he's drinking orange juice. I wasn't sure if there was any significance to orange juice, but
that's what I'm saying. Like, is that cool? It's like, oh, he gets orange juice as opposed to water, you know, like that's what I'm saying. Like the cage for a bigger cage thing, you know, like it didn't seem really that he went anywhere.
But he got a deal, man. He got a deal. He only has to do a 30-minute podcast or whatever, or vlog 2 times a week, and she pretty much gets screwed like every day or whatever, however many days. I mean, I think his was a lot better.
But we don't know that because we don't know what they're getting from it. She could have to bang every day of the week, but she could be set up in what we would consider to be a millionaire's home. Well, he does a 30-second podcast twice a week, and he's only, you know, he's in a upper middle class home, and we don't really know. What kind of hit me, and this is more of a personal thing because, you know, we have broadcasts, we do, you know, this podcast, we do our own shows, you know, I think for people that are in this business and other similar businesses, I think at least when I watched it, that there was this, you know, obviously the theme of selling out, but also the disingenuineness of the broadcast afterwards, right? So like when he gets up there, he's all genuine, he's on fire, and he's really giving them everything, and everybody can see that passion that excites them. And then by the time we revisit him, he's just got the glass to his neck, like talking normal, right? It's like, and for some reason that hit me kind of in a very personal place, because trying to remain genuine and trying to be authentic and stuff like that while you're doing your own broadcast is sometimes difficult, because you'll want to kind of slip into a character, right? You kind of slip into a thing, and it can get watered down over time. So personally, and maybe other people don't relate to this, that hit me. And I was like, oh, okay, we see that he's got his content, he's still putting stuff up, but he's broken. Like his enthusiasm and passion just aren't there, right? So
he's manufacturing it.
Exactly.
To fall into that same, I mean, he's becoming content for the whatever the system now, and that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's like his thing specifically doesn't work unless he has that passion. It's like the porn star, she can get up there, spread her legs, and just kind of take it and whatever. She doesn't look like she shows any emotion, but like for him, like that's important. But he still gets by, So it's almost like he's more of a figure. They really keep him for his actual content or things that he says. They just show him as a success story. Give him a little bit of time every week, whatever, and people think I can become this. But really, at the end of the day, all you're getting is orange juice over water. You know what I mean? That's how I took it. I didn't think what he got out of that was so great. All the hard work, all the everything, as his inheritance from his brother's death, all that shit. It's like it didn't really amount to much in the end once he sold everything.
Yeah, and sold his dick. That was kind of the point, right?
But I guess my point is. Yeah. But I guess my point is that these people are hamsters and they always will be.
Right.
Like it doesn't matter even if they go to this competition and happen to win on the off chance they do, you're still fucked. Like
well, in the end, if you're throwing a bone, you're gonna take the bone. Like that's kind of how I saw it.
Yeah, I know, but I guess I don't know. To me, it just showed that it didn't matter if they throw you the bone or you sit on the bike. Yeah, you might work less a little bit, but I don't think you're really much better off as a person. Yeah. So I don't know. That's my thoughts on that.
Once a slave, always a slave.
Exactly. All right, let's go into episode 3. Diction, why don't you lead us off on this one? This is a cool one. This is one of my favorite ones.
This is a cool one, yeah.
This is the one I started with too. So
that's a good one to start with, honestly, because it's got the sci-fi and the human, experience like wrapped up pretty solidly. It was some of the best performances too. This is one of my favorites. Yeah, I've watched it twice, and it's just really, really cool. The concept is cool, and it's also like really makes you think like, would you really want to have access to every memory you've had in the last decade or something, just at a click of a button? Like I wouldn't. I want to forget a lot of things, like bad experiences and shit. It's like it's a really good exploration of just like how human emotion can dictate, behavior, and even more so when they have access to all this fucking information. So, that's just my thought. I think it's a wonderful episode. Really fucked up ending. Sad. One of the saddest endings, probably.
I struggled with the same question. Like, if I could have this, would I want it? And I think the answer I got was if I had it and no one else had it. That's the answer. That's the answer I came to. Was like, yeah, maybe it'd be cool if I did it and nobody else did. But you kind of see it in their interactions, how because they have this technology, it's sort of how should I say this? I guess numbs them a little bit. I guess numb isn't really the word. It's like they're not. If you notice, like their party and the way they talk to everybody seems really business. It's like even when they're laughing at the table and stuff, there's almost like this level of like, I have to be good and I have to perform because people are recording this, and like even at the party when he walks up and they're talking, they're very like stiff. It's like I didn't ever feel like these were like people just naturally at a party, friends just hanging out, talking and chatting. It's almost like they all knew they were being recorded, so it made everything kind of tense or awkward just a little bit. So I appreciated that.
It was also the setting too. I mean, he didn't know any of those people, and I don't know the others. I know what you mean though.
But like, how would you
feel like differently together or something like that? Yeah.
would you act differently in public, or do you think society would be shaped differently had it having everybody being able to record pretty much everything flawlessly? Like, would society still be the same it is today, or would we be a little bit more clean cut, a little faker on the outside?
We'd be more paranoid. I think people generally would be more paranoid about their interactions and just being very, very self-conscious every time they're in a public setting or setting with any other folks that are recording. So yeah, I think it would change it. I don't know how it would change it exactly, whether it would be, whether there would be less wrongdoings because of that. You have something recorded, if you committed a crime or any little bit of semblance of a crime or whatnot, you would basically be caught like instantly, right? So yeah, I think society would change. I'm just not sure.
That would make being a detective like super useful.
Or you'd have no job anymore.
They go back to the crime scene in their brain, and they're like, "Oh shit, I did not notice that little detail."
Oh yeah, well okay, that's true.
It's like as close to Minority Report as you can get without Minority Report.
Oh,
It's
you had like
interesting.
Like a network of it, like a computer could figure it out based on the network of memories from everybody. That'd be interesting.
Well, and that's to be discussed too. I mean, because these people have access to it, does the government have access to it? Could it have access to it? Could things be, like, are certain channels monitored? Like stuff like that. Like, are you really? It's almost like your phone. Like, do you really own your phone? Like, do you really own this, whatever it is in the side of your head that makes you see all these screens? Somebody developed that. It's somebody's property.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of questions that come to this, but actually this episode, out of almost all the episodes or whatever, isn't really focused on the technology. It's funny because this is one of the few episodes that actually, and that's what Diction said too, the human side of it. It's really more focused on the shit that we do already, which is we find ways to damage and destroy our relationships every day, right?
Or the whole white lies, or like, is being honest or telling the truth actually worth it? Sometimes we're being completely honest. Do you need
this?
The complete honesty?
Because we'll figure it out anyways. Now the technology's there, but the overall theme is actually very human and been done a billion times. It's actually, I mean, the only thing that makes it kind of new and unique is the fact that they're just doing it in a different way. They're watching it through their eyes. But I did like. Again, I like just like in the first episode, I like this episode because it was willing to do the unhappy thing, and a lot of times you find, again, I say it every episode pretty much, I love grit, I love, the dark kind of stuff. And for me, I applaud anything that's willing to not have a happy ending. And this episode, it's like this guy gets paranoid and he starts going through all these pictures and moments and everything. And, at the end of the day, he's right. Like he's justified, like but at the same time, I don't think that at least I never really felt like I was on this guy's side. Like I never felt like I was on this guy's side, but I definitely felt like he was right. And it's a weird.
I kind of felt like on his side at the end.
You felt like you were on his side. Well, at the very end,
I mean,
yes.
The retribution.
When you find out the kid.
Yeah, I mean that was because he's portrayed as the crazy guy the entire time. And then, as you go on and on, you realize, what? Actually, this guy is very, like he's actually onto something. Not only onto something, he ends up, figuring it all out. And he was being, deceived in a way. I mean, I'm sure his wife loved him. And I'm sure his wife was, I don't know. That's a question too, whether she was over that dude or not, because she was a little fancy with him, right? Like during the party or whatnot. But let's just say she was over him. She still loves him or whatnot, and she's trying to protect him, from those, just from the past or what that happened. I don't know why she lied. It's like I guess she could probably told him, and I don't know. It would have been interesting to see what would have happened if she would have told him, because given his personality, he probably would have freaked out about it too. And so I think no matter how it ended up, they probably wouldn't have been together actually in the end of it, because he hated that dude so much. He hated just even the fact that she could have been even with that dude. But
I don't know. It's tough for me because I think at some point, I mean, you have to expect that. she's not, I mean, unless they got together when they were in high school and they were both virgins and they've been with each other forever and ever. Amen.
Clearly not the case.
But clearly not the case. But then if it's clearly not the case, then clearly he has to understand that other men are running around out there with memories of her intimately, and that's recorded. And I think that that's something when you get in a relationship with in this. Oh, did I cut out?
I heard you.
Okay,
yeah.
Sorry.
Cut out. What's happening?
Oh, maybe Diction's cut out. My point is that in this society, I don't know why it was so surprising that this gentleman specifically, like, was upset about having pictures of her. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Now the timing, obviously, I get. You know, you don't. Sorry, Diction leaving distracted me.
Yeah.
The timing, obviously, you know, him finding out was like 18 months before or whatever. And it's really, you know, maybe this other guy's daughter is this guy's daughter. Okay, sure. I get all that and being upset about that, of course. But just having the guy have memories of that, I think you would just come to expect that. You know, like if you started dating some girl in your mid-20s, you got to expect that some other guy's running around with a spank bank with her in it. You know, I think that's just that would just be part of society, right? Like at that point. So I don't get why he's mad about that. Bank.
Well, he's not, well, it's a combination, right? I think that's just one of the factors. I think the thing that's overlying is the fact that she's been lying to him the whole time. You know, and you know, we've seen this kind of thing just in real life and portrayed in art and just in TV and movies or whatnot too. And as he keeps delving into, I mean, even just going over his house and having, you know, like beating him up or whatnot and trying to, you know, get him to erase all those things. I mean, he just finds more and more like that she's been lying successively. Even like when he confronts her about it, she lies about it to him, like right to his face, like immediately. So, you know, your first reaction is that of course she shouldn't be lying to him, but at the same time, it's like you see how paranoid he gets. You see how like he reacts to just this current situation, and then you kind of think, you know, I can probably understand why she would, you know, possibly lie to him and just keep this away from him, so he wouldn't, you know, he wouldn't just ruin the relationship anyways based on that sort of thing. So
yeah, but you can't. But tough. Now she's got him now. But that's a fucked up thing to do to somebody.
It is. I'm just saying,
it's their kid and get him all emotionally attached to somebody who's not his child and make him believe.
Okay, so the child is like a totally different story. Yeah, that whole child thing is I don't know. Did they end up resolving that? Was that the other dude's child for sure? Or
I mean, that's what
okay, for sure. Okay, yeah. That's
I don't know if
that
I don't know if it just said it. I don't know if she just said that is his child, but I think it's very inferred. I think her silence is what answers it. So
okay, that's fucked
if I remember the scene correctly. Yeah, and that is fucked up. But I get what you're saying. His personality does not lend itself to somebody who would be able to handle a situation like this with any brevity. You know, it's like, you know, but I don't know.
But one other thing that was interesting to me is that I agree that the technology was kind of a secondary thing. It was more of like a tool that kind of led us to see a lot of evidence to the human side of it, right? But
yes,
it does make you wonder, because I think I'm with you there too, Addiction. Like if I was the only person that could do it, I think I would be totally up for having that ability, just because I like watching videos, you know, like of my kids and just old videos.
I wouldn't want access to all my memories.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, whether you want all of your memories or not, that'd be interesting. But I think I'm still crazy enough that I would want all my memories too.
I would want them too.
And so it's kind of interesting that the world that they live in a way, the past has so much influence that they spend so much time in the past that, you know, they lose some of the present because of it. And I think that's probably the reason. I bet that would happen to me to some extent too. So because of that, I don't know. I think it would be best for me not to have that ability, but I could see myself falling into that a little bit too. Just looking at like old shit, just to, you know, a little bit too much when I should be just like focusing on what's happening now and, you know, getting ready for the future. But that's kind of cool. Like, especially like that sex scene was like eerie, crazy, where they're just like, you know, they're rewinding like a scene from their past when they're having sex, but they're not enjoying the present, you know, like sex that they're having. That was a really weird scene there.
Man, don't judge, okay? Don't judge, bro.
I mean, it's not even like, you know, I could have understood a little bit more if it was like, you know, a different person. You know, like we've seen that before, right? They're imagining it's like somebody else because they're bored in their marriage and whatnot. We've seen that with other, you know, movies and shit like that. But it's like them, you know. So I guess they're just like remembering old days when they were younger and the sex was better. That was
well, Chanmanv. I mean, crazy. How long have you been married? We know that like the sex when you're in your honeymoon phase, you know, it's not the sex. Your sex evolves, right? And again, it has to do with passion. Passion actually pops up in a lot of these episodes, having a passion for something. So, and actually the absence of passion as well. I don't know what's up with your camera, Chanmanv, but you're like flat. You're like glowing or something. You're like strobe lighting.
It might be. It might be that. There might be a little ray that's sneaking in somehow. So
I liked what I like about Black Mirror the most out of all of its episodes is the thoughts and the implications of what we're seeing and what that could mean for their society as a whole that's not even shown.
Yeah.
So like when I watch these episodes, I think about the plot and what I saw, but I also think about the broader picture. Like what kind of life, again, I touched on this a little bit earlier, but what kind of life and society is this where everybody has this? It looks normal. It looks like our society just with the ability to, pretty much recall memories at will. But there's so much of that implies that you could have, different jobs. You could have people who are like paid to go out and just surveil things, like
yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I think this episode especially was fun to think about all the uses you could have out of having the ability. It's basically like a superpower, right? To be able to recall flawlessly anything that you've seen. Would you go out and travel more? Would you do more with your life if you could go back through it? Would you try to create more memories? Would that have an influence?
Yeah,
I think these are the fun things that you think about.
I think it totally would. Totally just like creating that database that you could always go back to. You definitely want to, create that content, right? So, in a way, that would be good for you. So.
Yeah, and I like the scene where he goes in there and he says, oh, he's talking about his job interview, and they're like, oh, toss it up on the screen. Let's take a look at it. That's just a small difference in just a small social setting, right? But that's kind of crazy,
it's so
right?
Applicable,
just to have
it's so applicable, though. There are definitely some embarrassing moments you don't want to relive in front of everybody, like your social history. And that's what's just like, oh my God, this is like a great scene right here. And then,
but wouldn't it be great if you could, just sit down and be like, all right, like get a team of professionals and be like, all right, what did this interview look like? There's so much that you could do with it. Okay, it just blows your mind away. It just blows your mind away. I'm just saying that as an example. I thought that was really cool. It made me open my mind and go, oh, what else could you do with all of the information that you have stored in this database? So it gets kind of crazy when you think about it, but I don't think it's so outlandish that this guy kept the intimate moments he had with this chick, especially since apparently
he kept it, but it's just basically they're both basically watching old versions of themselves while they're having sex in the present. That's kind of what I'm saying. It's like if you'll get stuck in the past if you have this ability much more often than obviously we do right now. There's a lot of people that reminisce about the past now and is stuck on maybe some of the great things that they achieved in the past, right? And
member berries, man.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Member. Yeah, but like what's to say that she's even looking at him during sex?
Well, she was,
they can't see what I know, but you can't. Well, do you know? It doesn't really say. They showed his.
Oh, I thought
they showed his point of view. Maybe they showed both. I can barely remember. But the thing is that the idea is that they can't see what the other is seeing. So she could be imagining that other guy while she has sex with him. Like that's what I'm saying. Like these crazy things. Like who knows, man? Yeah. What people could be doing with this like secret power. But we could probably talk about this forever.
All right, let's go. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so the next one is the first one for season 2. So this is a crazy episode too. This is probably my second favorite episode out of all of them. At least the first 6 out of the first 6.
I have to suspend my belief even for this show further with this than any of the other episodes for some reason. Well, because it's just so not practical. And there's so much about this that's dangerous and liability and all that stuff.
Of course.
I did find it interesting that they found a sort of haphazard, interesting way to touch on a lot of different subjects, especially with our prison systems, and I think that the idea of turning inmates into entertainment is something that
That's not new. That's like gladiatorial shit.
Yeah,
from
that's like the race. What was
old.
that? What was the race? That movie. It was like a driving race. Death Race. Yeah, it reminds me of Death Race a little bit.
Yeah. Again, the addiction's right. We have had, like the gladiators and stuff like that, but we would like to think that we've moved on from there, right? But now we have things like privatized prison systems, and like these companies can have these prisoners and monetize them and make money off of them. And again, Black Mirror, this is all Black Mirror. I mean, we're steps away from anything we're seeing. That's kind of what makes it so cool and almost like a warning, but also kind of interesting, is that it's not so crazy to think that we come up with brand new ways as technology increases to punish and torment the people in our society we deem disreputable. So this specifically, I think, is a interesting idea, but practically, would you be able to do this every single day?
How much would it cost to do it for one inmate?
Well, now they're making money off of this, right? Like the people are coming in, and again, that's liability. I'm thinking, like, when I watch this, I'm like, when it comes back around, I think, like, man, all these people could have really gotten hurt. Like, I know that they tell them stay back and just film with your phone and stuff, but people have their kids there. Would you want would you want your a killer running around, even if she has her memory wiped, the capacity she has for this? Would you even want your kid even around that? I wouldn't think that that's like a fun day out with dad, like,
like going to
like we're going to go watch this torment a criminal, kids. Exactly. Let's come on along,
We're going into a reenactment of a criminal escaping.
Actually, this is episode 2. We forgot Be Right Back is the first one. We can still talk about it.
Which one's...
they're all interchangeable. So.
Oh, I thought this one was episode. I might have gotten mixed up in the order, but
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's what's beautiful about Black Mirror. Is you have to go in order.
Exactly.
But what did you think about the way that they told the story? I thought that was the most brilliant part.
Yeah, I loved how they told the story.
How slow they took with it, and also how in the dark you are about it. You're going to figure it out. They're going to explain it at one point, but man, you watch for a while not really getting it. Is this post-apocalyptic? Is this maybe a virus with these people that they have to use their phone? Is it, there's so many ways that it could have gone. Did you see it coming?
I didn't see it coming for at least the first half of the episode.
Yeah. I didn't expect the twist. No.
Yeah. And I think that's what I like most about it, is its willingness to be slow, methodical, pace itself. It's subtle. It comes up and then, all right, bam, it drops the hammer. It's I think it's pretty elegant how they didn't reveal it all or give too much. They leave you just totally mystified by what's happening.
Right.
And what that does is, by the time it's over, when you go back through it in your mind, it makes it even more fun. You start realizing what's happening. Did you feel that way?
Yeah.
Chan?
Yeah, I totally felt that way. I think it definitely has that element where everything's resolved at the end. But I liked how tense it was the entire time. Like, literally the first second of the show, you're in this very tense, you have a very tense feeling while watching it, because A, you don't know what's going on. B, she's obviously in duress. Like, she doesn't know what's going on. So you're really, they do a really good job of even setting up the whole you're along for the ride type of thing, right?
Right.
Like that symbol, like, what is that symbol? Like, why are these people filming me through the windows, And then, it doesn't even dawn on her why this girl at the gas station just happens to not be, one of these crazy people are filming her or whatnot, right?
Right.
So there's definitely a lot of great things or at least from the standpoint of the setting, that they did a super good job about. There's not as much of a moralistic type of message, I think, to this. I think you covered it pretty well already, Ellohime. That's just, it's just reality TV, basically, for an inmate, and they're probably profiting from this in some way. But I think the only thing that's interesting is that they literally do the same thing to her every single day. So, like, she's almost like Prometheus, or something where she's been being tortured every single day for that.
A criminal's Groundhog Day.
Yeah, exactly. Criminal's Groundhog Day. That's a good way to describe it. But that would suck to be her, because obviously she was selected. They can't do that. I mean, like, this would cost way too much to do this for every single person.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, and that's another question too. This was like, it's called White Bear, I believe. And the White Bear is like the kid's white bear that she had or whatever. It became a symbol for this park. Yeah. So it's like White Bear Park or whatever. Right. And it's just about her. It's got to be just about her, because if they can't have another criminal in the White Bear part, you know, because right. You know, but like, what happens when she dies? Like, does it fold up and they pick another? Again, the implications are crazy of what.
Yeah, well, like, how many parks are there? Maybe for different offenders.
You know what it reminded me?
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, it's like this whole thing reminded me of remember that movie, The Game?
Yes,
Michael Douglas.
Yes, I watched that recently.
Yeah, this episode reminded me of like a miniature version of that.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool. So
The Game is, I think, a little bit even more impractical. Like,
that's what you think.
Like, the only place
that's the real world it's happening in. So
these stories fall apart to me in the corralling, right? The perfect manipulation of the subject to go exactly where they want her to go. Yeah. You know, like in this, I can buy it a lot easier than like The Game, right? Because The Game, they only had one shot at it and they did it all pretty much for whatever.
Yeah,
but like in this, like, they can practice it,
like constrained, and like they have total control over this whole area.
Yeah,
like, The Game is just straight up. It just takes place on Earth, you know, like
in his house.
Michael Douglas could have gone anywhere.
Exactly.
Like,
I mean,
but this is more constrained.
That would have been a place where somebody would have gotten shot, like, for sure, like on accident or whatnot.
Yeah.
Where this one, none of the guns have bullets, and it's like, yeah, that's cool. Or at least it's a little bit safer.
So here, Diction, I got a question for you.
True.
Did the punishment fit the crime? It's tough,
possibly. Yeah, it is.
That's tough. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough because, I mean, technically, this person is only experiencing this pain once.
Yeah, they'll only ever remember the one time before they die, unless they wipe her memory and then she dies. Then it's like why even fucking do it? You know, like.
Well, it depends on
if you're trying to send a message, but the message gets deleted after every day. It's like, then what's the point?
Well, but I mean, it's a philosophical thing, right? So, does it match the crime from the standpoint of her, or does it match the crime from the standpoint of society? Like, if society sees what happens whenever you commit a crime like this, we're gonna torture the fuck out of you until you die, like every single day.
You're not even gonna know how tortured you are.
Exactly. Then I mean, seeing that, I think that would encourage people not to, you know, commit crimes, kill people. But yeah, from the standpoint of her, it doesn't rehabilitate her or anything like that. So it is pretty pointless, I think, in terms of, you know, her standpoint and what she feels.
And I'm glad that you said that word, rehabilitation, because that's what the prison systems are supposed to be about.
Right.
It's supposed to be the government say, rehabilitating these people, these offenders, and releasing them back into society, you know, fixed. Now, we can argue back and forth all day whether or not that's effective or not, but that is supposed to be the rudimentary effect of having prisons, is to rehabilitate people. Now, again, with private companies taking over, obviously it's starting to turn into money, which is why I think this episode was made specifically, because it's like the dangers of getting out of that mindset of rehabilitation. In fact, it's like the opposite of rehabilitation. You're not worried at all about this person getting better. You're interested in making money, first of all. Second of all, you're conditioning society, because, again, you said if you see somebody doing this, you could end up being that person too. Yeah. But then 3, it's just straight torture to this girl. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I ask, does the punishment fit the crime? Like, if you could choose today, like, you could pick somebody maybe who did a crime versus a child, like this girl did. I think she even just filmed it. I think she didn't stop it.
Yeah,
and
that
her
was the
boyfriend,
whole thing about everybody filming her doing it.
Yeah. And so she gets filmed and stuff like that. If you could pick somebody who had done a horrific thing to a child and put them in this hell right now, would you do it? Let's say that it was somebody close to you. Yeah. Let's say that it was somebody close to you. Would you condemn somebody to a fate like this, even if they had done that to somebody close to you, even a young person?
I mean, I feel like the fate of being in the prison system, where child murderers are like they don't last long.
Exactly.
You know, like they're the worst of the worst, like short eyes and all that shit. That would be a worse fate than like, you know, repeating the same day over and over again, but not remembering that it's being repeated, you know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I fall.
Perpetual fear is definitely much worse than reliving this one day.
I would rather, and that's where I kind of come down to at the end of the day with this episode is, while I do think it's interesting and that's a crazy society and that was a great episode, practically, I think that it's more effective not to do all this. But you know what is effective? Maybe if money's your concern, maybe it's super effective, you know? So again, we don't get to see again the society outside of this, you know, so we don't see how this really affects the bigger picture. But I would like, if it were, you know, to happen to somebody that I knew and I had a choice, I would want that person to never forget, even for a moment. Like I would want this person to suffer for a long time, and you know
that's natural. I mean, me too. I mean, it's very natural.
And sorry, you know, but it's something to think about, because I think it says a lot about, you know, again, we're steps away from making prisons you know, reality TV basically.
Probably
you know,
probably true.
It's already been done. It's already been done. They already have a bunch of reality TV stuff, but
exactly,
especially with the privatized, you know, sectors, basically where the problems come in. But
all right, well, let's move on to the next episode. I think I'm gonna skip to the last one, because the last one I think it's just a little bit better if we save the other one for the end. All right, so this one is the Waldo one.
We're not going to talk about Be Right Back. That's my favorite.
No, we are.
No, we are. We're gonna. So let's talk about this one first. What did you guys think of this? This obviously has some. This has some political parallels to today, at least with Trump or whatnot.
Yeah,
this is beyond what Trump, but.
I'd have to watch it again now after the election, because I didn't really appreciate it the first time I watched it. I thought it was the weakest.
I thought this was the worst episode.
This is my least favorite. Easily my least favorite.
Like I didn't dig any of the characters. I didn't get close to them, and it felt super cartoonish. I know it's about a cartoon character, but like it was the most unbelievable of all of them. But then now, like maybe it's not so.
It's still unbelievable. I mean, like I'm a fan of like having unpredictable endings, but this one, I think it would have had more impact if he would have won, because he didn't win. So what's the message here? Like, I don't even know what the message.
Well, he did. I think he did. Well, I think the message at the end was that he did win. I mean, he, like, the guy playing him ended up being like homeless and gets beat up by a bunch of cops and shit at the end. But he looks at the sign and it looks like a political ad, almost like a global political ad, if I remember correctly. That it almost looked like he had taken over the world, and that's why I didn't like it. It was like this dystopian, you know, society where like he had taken over the world, this cartoon character. I think the biggest offense of this episode specifically is the fact that Waldo isn't fucking funny. He's not funny ever.
No, he's not entertaining at all.
If he had any amount of, if the character had any amount of charisma or was actually funny or clever or witty, I think I would have enjoyed this more, and it would have been a little bit better and more believable. But the way that his character was, he was just fucking annoying, man. Every time I saw Waldo, I was like, God, this is so annoying. He never seemed super witty. You know, even in his political discussions, he just loses character, you know. And so I know that that's kind of the unhinging
that's
of
the
the guy
point,
behind
right?
him. Yeah. But still, I just, even when he was at like the top of his game and stuff, like he's talking to the dude in the street on the van and everything, I didn't think any of that shit.
I didn't really think it was funny too. Wait, so he took over the world? I thought the last scene was him, like the other dude winning, like that guy he's been making fun of the whole time, winning was it the mayoral election or the whatever election.
I could have swore that he looks at like a sign at the end, and then that's when he yells at you, like throws something at it. It's like the character's still doing something politically. I'll have to take another look at the sign. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, maybe I missed that very last part of it, but okay. I mean, if he takes over the world, then that's a weak ending too. No matter how you look at it.
I'm trying to look up.
Oh, okay. So if somebody in chat says that Waldo did win the election. Oh, okay. I thought Waldo lost the election. I might have to rewatch that, but it would make more sense if he would have won the election. So that would make sense.
I love, yeah, because he's sitting there. It says hope, It says hope, change, believe, challenge, better, hope is what it says on the poster. It's like very Obama message.
Oh, okay.
Like,
okay.
like just kind of playing off of the people that want, that want to change things so badly. They're willing to put their
right. So Waldo won. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, like you said, I mean, I think the connections are obvious here. People a long time ago would have said that it would have been impossible for Donald Trump to win the presidency, but he has. So I think anything's up for grabs at this point. Is it unbelievable that a cartoon character, I think at some point the country would go, this is a little ridiculous. But don't ever in this election too, don't ever underestimate what a nation can do that's angry. So
yeah, exactly.
I mean, they voted in Trump, in my opinion, at least, just as much to say "fuck you" about the government as they did to say, probably even more so than this to say this guy actually has the qualifications to be president.
It would be pretty hard to have both parties have somebody they hate. An incumbent can understand, a person that represents a lot of what the incumbent was doing, like Hillary, can understand, but to have two people that the nation literally hates, or at least half of the nation really, really hates, would be, I just can't even see that. That'd be really, really crazy.
Yeah, I do like how, like, the third party lady, wasn't she she was like a third party person. She's supposed to like kind of represent that. The chick that he kind of was talking to and had a relationship with.
Yeah.
I love how she was she was like perfectly third party. Like, she tried to be relevant and then wasn't. It's like it was such a I don't know. It was a very obvious episode. I feel like they it wasn't subtle like the other episodes, and it's like almost a completely different, but like you said, different directors, but I don't know. I think, like I said, the thing that bothered me the most is that he just wasn't very funny or charismatic. So I couldn't see people really falling in love and following this character in any capacity. But again, you can't count out anything because this world's a crazy place.
Should have used Pikachu, man. All right, let's talk about the last one, which was is that the Be Right Back? That's Be Right Back, right?
Be Right Back.
Yeah.
That one is so good.
Yeah.
I'm getting chills. I'm getting chills right now, literally just thinking about it. Like, my skin is like I'm getting goosebumps.
So first of all, you guys watched the movie Her, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's kind of similar to that, right?
Yep. So, very similar.
Yeah.
Very similar.
But it was, I mean, Diction, you want to start us off with talking about it?
I mean, well, the cast was wonderful. I love Domhnall Gleeson and what's her name?
Agent Carter.
Peggy, Agent Carter.
Yeah.
You do that a lot in the show.
I know.
What's their name? What's their name? Because there's never like a huge star. It's always like
it's true.
Like these fledgling actors and actresses that are really good, but you've maybe seen them in one or two other things, but they're always a side character. Yeah. Go ahead, Diction.
But no, this is like probably the most powerful episode, and it was like really, I mean, the sci-fi was fascinating. The characters were really sympathetic and like humorous, and like you bought into the relationship, even though you only got to see them together for like 5 minutes, the beginning of the episode. And and so another one of those episodes, like, if you could, would you? If you could bring back a dead loved one as this like artificial being with just like all their memories are based on their social media posts and emails and shit like that, would you do it? And do you think it would have the same effect where just like at the end of the day, this is not the person you love? It can never be the person you love,
Right.
I would, but for different reasons. Probably very similar to the reason she kept him around. If, for instance, let's say, God forbid, that something were to happen to Cora, right? And I could have what this woman had, this Cora come back body, and learn mannerisms over time and stuff. Now, I don't think I would ever pretend to love that person or think that it's her or just replace her or anything. I would never do that for her. But what I would do it for is for Junie. And here's the thing is that I would want Juniper to know her mother. And if I felt like I could talk to this thing and explain what kind of person that Korra was, kind of the same way she does, and she keeps him up in the attic, you know, I might do the same thing with Junie, or with Korra, just for Junie's sake. I might, depending on, again, the level of cognizance, and because I would want her to know Korra and to spend time with Korra, and even if it wasn't Korra, at the end of the day, if I just treated it as like almost like a picture book of your mother in real life, you know,
like a physical,
you know,
memory,
that kind of
basically.
thing. I can see justifying it, but I think that would, I mean, I think it's one of those things where everybody, like, if this were a real thing in our society, I think I would fall on the lines of everybody needs to make their own choice. Like, everybody has to make their own choice on this. I think I wouldn't do it for relationship reasons. I think I would have the wherewithal to realize this is not a real person. I need to meet somebody real and move on, you know. But for Junie, yeah, I might, you know, have a Korra replica made and you know, fashioned to her personality. What do you think, Chan?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, my thoughts on it is just that, you know, I understand like having a replica made, especially to help you through the grieving phase, because the grieving phase is going to last a long time, and you know, I know anything that could help you, you know, get through that. It's totally understandable. I think it hinders you too at the same time, because you don't really get over somebody until she's, you know, or unless they're removed from your life, you know, like you have to actually adapt or adjust your life, you know, according to that. Right. So from the standpoint of like moving on, I think it's actually a bad thing to have them around now, but at the same time, I think it is good, like having them similar to you, is like having them as a physical, you know, it's like it's like you watch videos of the people, right? Like if they've passed or whatnot, you know, it's like having a physical version of them. You know, it's not real, but it is, there are a lot of elements of her that represent her. Like if it was my wife, for instance, there's a lot of elements of her that represent her, and it's good to be able to remember that sometimes. But you know, you're not to the point where you're literally in a relationship with this person, like you're gonna have sex with this thing, you know. It's like it's nothing like that. So
the sex scene was hilarious.
Yeah, that was
so awkward.
You would never say that. But no, so yeah, I kind of agree with that too. Now, so whether it's good or bad, I mean, I think it's nice as an option, like you said. I think it could be scary though for the majority of society. I could be wrong about this, but I think a lot of people would, I think, like fall into that trap of, you know, really treating this person like the real person, you know, like it was the real person, and that can be, I don't know, I just don't think that's healthy, like from a rudimentary standpoint, because it keeps them from finding somebody else, you know, like, you know, making another relationship with somebody else, you know, like maybe, you know, just broadening their lives. I mean, this robot, or whatever you want to call it, it's limited to what's already been done by that person, right? Like it's not going to, I'm just assuming it's not going to continue to expound on that. If it did, if there was computer learning and it actually became a, you know, a completely different person, maybe kind of similar to her, but her was just a voice, right? That would be an even crazier discussion, I think. But in this particular case, I don't think it would necessarily be a good thing.
It's easily the most emotional out of all of the episodes. Even the recall one where they can pull back up this, I thought that was pretty emotional. But I think this even hits on a deeper level. It's not betrayal or anything. It's like you said, it's about grief. It's, you know, about loss. It's about moving on. It's about trying to put some understanding on this sort of happenstance thing that happened and changed this woman's life. What I really liked about this episode, it kind of hits you in a place deeper than, you know, like for instance, Battlestar Galactica, or what's another one, where it's like Westworld, you know, even Westworld, you know, it's like this whole thing where it's like, if robots, or if, you know, programming is so real that you can't tell what's real or not, then what is real and why isn't that real? You know, that kind of thing.
Sure.
And again, they do it in Battlestar, they do it in Westworld. These are not spoilers, you know, the Cylons and all that stuff. And you know, that's always been the kind of moral conundrum in those stories, right? It's like, these people, are they people or are they not? Are they toasters? They call them toasters in, you know, Battlestar. You're like, oh, you're in love with a toaster, you know, which is technically true. It's not a naturally organic person that we're talking about here. But at the same time, again, I think it just comes down to it would be like, it'd be like any other choice you have to do with your body and who you're with. Not everybody will understand or agree with it or anything like that, but there would be many people out there who would sign up for it. But let me just finish this thing. The most emotional scene when he's on the cliff, I think, is where you see the separation, but you also see the merit all at once. It's like when she goes like, oh, I'm going to jump off, or tells him to jump off or whatever. He's like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to, whatever. He just kind of says that. She's like, no, he would fight me. He would fight me. And he's like, don't let me do this. Don't, then he just it flicks on. So like you see the merit of it because you can see just how quickly and how accurately this thing can mimic the person you want it to. But the fact that it had to learn that even in an instant, the fact that it had to be told to do that, it's this weird, I don't know. It's this weird thing where it's not real, Yeah. So it's such a strange episode. But I think my point is that I think this hit on a more emotional level than those other shows have. The other shows kind of talk like a lot of things go like, what happens if they turn on us? What if they don't turn on us? What if they're our loved ones? What if they're the people we care about?
Be the person you love. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you have to. So, wouldn't you guys always? Let's say we did this, right? Each of us did this, and it was like a loved one or whatnot. I mean, wouldn't in the back of your head you feel like this thing could just turn on me one day and just kill me or something like that?
See, I wouldn't. Well, I mean,
that's always going to be in the back of my head. It's like this isn't the real person, and it's like, what if somebody hacks this thing and it just like freaking kills me or something like that? I would be paranoid about that.
There is that. I mean, and again, who owns it really? Who's to say that the manufacturer doesn't have some fail safe to turn it off if it happens to go crazy and liability issues? Again, the implications of where this could go. We're only seeing a very small, very, very small, one relationship in a whole society of people that can order these people, right? So it's like, I mean,
I'm probably getting a little crazy talk now, but
no, get crazy. This is the time.
We're not that far from that kind of stuff. Like I don't know about the body aspect of it, but the the Skynet computer learning aspect of it, tons of advancements have been made in computer learning recently. And it's going to lead to tons of advancements in a lot of things, like the medical field and things we've been working on for years and years. I actually think we'll be seeing cures for sicknesses that we've been working on for years in the next 5 to 10 years. And it has a lot to do with computer learning, but at the same time, computer learning is that step that's going towards Skynet. I don't know how far we are from that, but we're a lot closer than I think a lot of people realize. And in the next 5 or 10 years, I think you'll start seeing, I think some people might be starting to see that, piece that together, because I know a lot of people that are in the venture capitalists field or whatnot, or they're working for a bunch of different ventures or VCs or whatnot. They're investing a ton into these computer learning companies, and we've probably heard of some of them, like the one that won the
thing in New York, I know, I forget.
God, that's on.
I forget what it's called. It's on Silicon Valley.
The Disruptor.
Maybe I'm thinking about.
Yeah, it's the same one. It's the same one. It's the same.
Is it?
Context.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that was a computer learning. That was like dealing with gaming too. So we're seeing these companies try to do things, even like in League of Legends and whatnot, trying to figure out MMRs and where you should be and how you should have played the game and whatnot. But yeah, we're seeing that across the board, everywhere. And this type of thing, honestly, isn't that far away. I'm not talking about it's not like next year or 2 years from now, but right. Outside of the actual physical body itself, the AI portion of it probably isn't that far away.
Can I just throw this, just echoing, kind of continuing your point? If there's anybody watching right now and you guys want some really interesting kind of mini stories on this, go look up some TED Talks that talk about 3D printing hearts. And there are, like you said, I don't think people realize how close we are even to the physical form. They are already printing hearts at this point. That has happened. That's a thing. That's indisputable. It's happened. Yeah. They have devices that They have put on. I watched this one where they have a device that hooks to this rat's head and a beetle too, and they have a remote control beetle. They've tapped into the brain and electrical pulses enough to where they can have literally a remote control, and they can fly a live beetle around because they've controlled it. So
that's cool, man.
Yeah, so there is all sorts of tech out there that, again, like you said, 5 or 10 years. I think 5 or 10 years is a little early on my time scale, but I think by the time that we are old men and we're on our deathbed, I think that we are going to see some incredible things on the way. And we already have, but I mean, that's what I like about Black Mirror the most.
Man. It's going to be.
And maybe it will. And maybe it will. Who the fuck knows?
I mean, it's going to be awesome things too, like curing cancer. Like, I have a friend of mine, company, that's what they're focused on, like genetic, it's a genetic company that he used to be like one of the partners in my mobile company. And he's using computer learning right now to figure out the genetic makeup of each of the cancer cells or whatnot, and just basically removing the shroud so your body can fight cancer. They're close, dude. It's like kind of crazy.
Well, that's why this show is so good. At the heart of this show, the reason this show really works, and the reason it's so successful, in my opinion, is because, again, we're just a couple steps away.
I know, seriously.
From a lot of these stories. Some of them may seem super fantastical and, maybe even impractical, like the prison one and stuff, it's a very specific line of things that would have to evolve to that. But the reason this is so interesting is because we're seeing, again, the implications, I keep using that word, the implications of the technology we're developing, what could be. And it's almost like, excuse me, it's almost like a warning, it's almost like you get a warning out of it, like this could be this, be careful kind of thing. But it's not necessarily saying no. It's like in this episode specifically, exactly. It's rife with stuff that you would make most people go, all right, it's time to quit. But at the end of it, he's still in the attic. So it's like the show isn't necessarily saying stop. It's just saying tread carefully. But
there's realism to it. That's what's cool about all like Black Mirror is that there's an aspect that all of us have thought about that's realistic in its manner and how it's being portrayed. And I don't know, that's why I love this show. And obviously there's some more to be talked about too. Like, I mean, this is the last episode that we're talking about this episode, but yeah, I mean, it definitely makes you look at your, just at society right now and where we are. And, like you said, these are all the warnings, and there's a lot of good things that are going to come, and we're going to miss all the potential detriments of all these things, just with technology moving the way it is. And yeah, things like Black Mirror are good ways to keep us, at least keep us seeing what potentially can happen, at least from a negative fashion.
Right. And another thing that's super cool about it is fuck it, I just forgot what I was gonna say. Damn it, I hate when that happens. Damn it.
Brain fart.
Yeah, brain fart. Sorry. No, I don't know. This show is I think it's important for people. I think some people need to see what's kind of happening or where things could go, and that it is just, kind of right there. But what's really exciting, I think, most about this show from an entertainment perspective is that while we've talked about this, the, man versus nature, man versus, himself, man, but, like the normal English subjects and like the Shakespearean thing, like there are no original stories. As we develop new technology or even get close to new technology, I think it's broadening our spectrum of what we can develop as far as stories are concerned as well. A lot of these stories, while dealing with technology that is familiar to us, at least on some level, it's got this, I don't know. I don't know how to really explain it. It's got this, I have a hard time articulating this. Do you get what I'm saying? Like maybe I didn't, maybe I'm just out and nowhere.
No,
I think that through this, I think that we're going to see more is what I'm saying. I think we're going to see more people tackle this kind of genre and kind of get into these more interesting areas that maybe haven't been tackled by TV yet because some of the technology is just so new. You know, can you name another show that has a basis for, you know, today's technology and the things that it does? I mean, like you said, like Battlestar Galactica, or like
Robot,
I said, Battlestar Galactica has like, you know, has, you know, Mr. Robot. Yeah, that's a really good one.
We got to do Mr. Robot too.
Yeah, we do have to do Mr. Robot somewhere. But what I'm saying is that this is broadening our horizon, and technology is broadening our horizon for art on all different levels. Because we have technology, we now can be artistic in film and even painting and stuff like that. Like, there's so many different things that this opens up for us, and even, you know, creating those things in different ways themselves. It's like you don't even have to hand paint anymore. You could have something hook up to your brain that will paint for you. You know, like it's interesting to see where things will go, especially like what will be obsolete. You know, like blacksmiths. You know, that was like one of the most important roles in society for you know, years and years and years and years, and now it's like, who needs a blacksmith, right? Like, it's like at what point?
What do you mean? I need one. I still need one for my sword in the garage. my battle
what I'm saying is, at what point does
stop right now?
At what point does a doctor become an old profession? You know, that nobody practices anymore because we've got, you know, a machine
programmers
that will diagnose you and cure you instantly. You know, that kind of thing. It's crazy to think about, and even in just small sectors like sexuality, for instance, even with virtual reality. You know, like virtual reality is going to change the way that we approach sexuality between each other. You know, like in even in relationships, you're going to have a conversation, Chan, with your wife by the end of the time that you die. You're going to have a conversation about whether or not it's okay or not to get in a virtual reality chat room with a woman and have her virtual reality jerk you off. Okay, you're going to have that conversation, and your wife's going to be like, "I'm cool with it" because she's not touching you, or she's going to be like, "Don't ever fucking go close to her." You know, like these conversations are going to pop up in just this very small place.
It's true. That's probably,
you know,
true.
Like, you know, when you're going to have that conversation, or you have to sit down. It's like, is it okay? Because this is new. You know. So what else, man? What else could be out there? I'm an old man, honey.
Exactly.
These rocks haven't gotten
your
off
hands are not the same as they used to be, honey.
I like the roughness of your wrinkles.
The arthritis is just not allowing for the
but the cataracts, I know, yes. You can't see where you're going. I don't know. I'm just saying it's crazy. But season 3 gets even crazier, and the Christmas special. I can't believe I even fucking forgot about that. That was like the best.
Yeah.
So if you guys especially are interested in things like that,
why don't we just talk about next? I don't think we actually have time for some questions this week, and so
well, there's somebody in there, Flukes, in the general chat.
I don't know. He's playing Overwatch, so I don't think he's actually.
Well, he might be listening. I don't know if he's like a caller, or should we just leave him there?
I messaged him actually, so he hasn't messaged back. Okay. But in the meantime, if he does, then that'd be great. But in the meantime, if you guys couldn't tell already, next week, season 3, season 3, and the Christmas episode. I promise I'll watch the Christmas episode. So,
and I mean, it's gonna be more talk like this, you know. Yeah. It's gonna be where can technology go?
Yeah, I mean,
well,
what can we fuck next?
yeah.
A pig, a plastic guy, or what's I don't know. Where do we go beyond that?
Well, I'm just gonna give a little teaser. It's not a spoiler, just a little teaser about this season. This season has more episodes. First of all, double the amount of episodes. That's 6 episodes. In a normal season, there's only like 3. But on top of that, there are several episodes that deal with or closely related to video gaming.
Oh,
so
cool. That's good.
There's some really, really interesting stories kind of in that realm, I guess you could say. I think 2 specifically that I'm thinking of. And they are insane, and I can't wait to talk about them, because with what we do, it's like we can go anywhere. So really? I'm excited. Okay. I'm excited. But it's not going to be next week, though. It's not going to be next week for those of you who are watching. I'm going to be in Vegas next week, so it is not happening then. So I believe we're going to shoot for the week after that.
So Thursday after, guys, we'll be back. And so it gives you ample time to watch the 3 seasons. I'd recommend watching all of them if you haven't. And join the discussion next time. I mean, we actually went pretty long today, even just us talking about it. 6 episodes. But if you guys want to join in, a lot of you guys in the chat have plenty to say about it. hop on with us, man. We're love to continue the conversation with you. But why don't we wrap up, guys?
It's gonna be crazy. I'm super excited about it. I can't wait for you to see it.
Have you watched it, Nick? Have you watched all the episodes already? Or no? Okay.
All of them.
So it's just
There's only one I haven't seen. There's only one, and Cora and I just haven't gotten around to start. She fell asleep during it. So there's one episode that I'm actually gonna sit down and watch like the first time.
Have you been watching Empire with Cora or no? Because she told me she's getting through season 1 of it.
Okay, listen, I have been playing the computer while Cora sits behind me and watches it on my right.
Yes,
so I've been like following but not really watching. And what I can tell from that show is that it's actually a pretty damn good show.
The first season is, yeah.
Huh?
The first and maybe part of the second season is, yeah.
It's a good show, but the one thing I can't get over is that they fuss so much over the music. Like the whole fucking show is about the music, right? Well, really about the characters, but around the music. But the music always sounds shitty to me. It always sounds horrible, and I'm like, how can they? They're like, yeah, that's a great beat. Yeah, that's it. That's gonna make you a star. I'm like, that sounds like I jumped on Audacity and came up with like a 3-scheme beat, like 3 seconds. Like I don't know. So I do like the show. Sorry, we got off topic, but it does seem interesting. I do think it's probably an excellent show for television.
It's another one of those biases of mine, man. Just watching that show, it's like total trash drama, but I don't know. There's something about it I just have to watch.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to tackle it at some point.
Oh God, I don't know if we do that on here. Make Diction watch Empire would probably be painful for him.
It's not terrible. It's a good show. It's just
the first season. Yeah, it might be all right. But anyways, why don't we wrap up? Diction, where can people find you?
On my twitch.tv/EatMyDiction1.
Oh, actually, right here. What am I talking about?
Right here. We're on. I'll be streaming later tonight, and I don't know what I'll play. Games probably. I imagine a game or two.
Games? What else do you do?
That's just games. Yeah,
just games. Ello?
Yeah, you guys can find me at twitch.tv/EatMyDiction1. I'm a streamer, and I'm really awesome. So you should probably follow me right now. Hit that follow button on the channel.
That's right.
That's sick right. Shit. But also, I've got this buddy named Ellohime that has his own channel, and it's twitch.tv/Ellohime. Who knew? And if you wanted to follow him, he's got all his cool stuff right there on the channel page. I'm going to be streaming tomorrow morning, actually. I've cut the third person stuff. I'm going to stream it tomorrow morning with my brother. My brother's in town for Thanksgiving. Cool. Tomorrow morning, I think we're going to wake up early and we're going to play some Watch Dogs 2. Or he's probably just going to sit there while I play. But whatever. For anyone who's been in my channel, my brother,
he's just going to sit there and watch me play.
Well, my brother streams. He has his own channel. He streams. Okay. And he used to live with me. And so he's one of my emotes. Like he used to be on the stream enough that people started to get to know him as his own thing, you know?
Yeah.
But then he moved away. He moved away last year. So he's been in New Jersey, so now he's visiting, and so we're going to do some streaming together. So if anybody of you have seen my stream, and especially ones with Ben, he'll be back, and we'll be having fun in Watch Dogs like we did many moons ago. Awesome. So Chanman, tell us about you, man.
Yeah, you can find my stuff. Find my stream at twitch.tv/ChanmanV. I'm going to be streaming my Hearthstone podcast talk show in about an hour with Noxious, Zalay, and Ponyhoff. So if you like Hearthstone, want to talk about Heroic Brawl and all the new cards being revealed, tune in for that. Also, you can find all the show VODs, including this one, over at youtube.com/ChanmanV. We did our Streamer Showdown Overwatch game show last night, too, which was a lot of fun. So if you missed that, you can check that out over there, too. But,
can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can you tell Ponyhoff that I said hi?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You know him?
Tell him. Yeah, he actually was a viewer of mine for a long time.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And like a subscriber and stuff. And then he started streaming, and now he's like his own fucking
that guy is
all in himself.
So fun, man. Positive.
I haven't got it. I jumped in there for like 2 seconds and didn't get a real good feel with it before I had to jump and help Junie. So I haven't seen his stream enough to like, seen his show, but I know him and he's fucking always been good to me. He's always been a really great viewer, and I'm so excited for his success. So just tell him I said hey.
He's one of those guys that can just stay positive for like an 8-hour stream. Like literally super positive the whole time. Like, how do you do that, dude? I don't know. I mean, I can't do that.
Especially playing Hearthstone.
It's all good. That's true. The RNG can get you salty pretty easy.
Yeah, and does.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to be it this week for Spoiler Alert. Again, we'll be back in 2 weeks, and it's going to be Black Mirror Season 3, so go and watch that when you can. What's the easiest place for everybody to watch it, by the way, guys? It's
Netflix.
Netflix, right? Yeah, Netflix.
Yep.
Oh, you're blurry all of a sudden.
Yeah,
so
I know.
Go and check that on Netflix when you can. But until then, for Eat My Diction, Ellohime, and myself, Chanmanv, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.